Hey everybody, today I'm taking a very special request from my friend the man with no chin, Kyle, as some people know him over at Manic Expression. And what he wanted me to talk about was the Rosenbergs. Now, for those who don't know, the Rosenbergs were a married couple from the East United States who were convicted of treason, and they were executed in 1953. The specific treason they were convicted of was selling atomic secrets to the Soviet Union. They, along with a German doctor who had become a British citizen, were convicted of this and all executed, and several others went to prison over the selling of atomic secrets to the Soviet Union. Now, here's the thing about the Rosenbergs is their guilt is up in the air to this day. With all the information we managed together, with everybody saying what they think here and there, whether they were actually guilty or not is still a question. Let's go individually. Now, Julius Rosenberg, he had worked with the Manhattan Project. Ethel's brother had also worked with her brother, so Julius's brother-in-law had also worked with the Manhattan Project, and he passed some of those secrets along to Julius, who traded those to the Soviet Union. Now, whether those secrets or not were treason worthy or not is a different question. There's some that say that it was the most technical. In fact, their handler, their spy handler, he's even went back and forth on how important the information that Julius Rosenberg gave up was. But the point is that Julius Rosenberg definitely did give up some information. Now, for years, it was a lot of questions about whether or not he did actually give them any information or not. But I think when the official Soviet papers came out in the 90s, especially around 1994, it was pretty clear that he was a Soviet spy. Julius Rosenberg was a Soviet spy. Whether what he had done or not was treason-worthy, that's still a major question. But he was convicted of treason. He was spying for the Soviet Union, and he was executed. So that's Julius Rosenberg. So whether it's really a degree of guilt for him is the major question. How guilty was he? Did he really give the Soviets the things that led to them building their own atomic bomb after the United States had first completed theirs? Ethel, on the other hand, his wife, it seems now abundantly clear that her brother is the one who actually sent her up. It was his testimony that sent her up and got her executed. And she probably wasn't guilty of much of anything. She wasn't even with Julius for much of the period where he was doing the spying, trading these secrets to the Soviets. And so it looks like she was not guilty of anything. She didn't do any spying. And in fact, her sister-in-law, the brother's wife, was actually the one who was doing what she got accused of. Since she was the one doing it, her husband had protected her and threw his own sister under the bus. So I guess, if you ever wondered if he loved his sister or his wife more, there's your answer. And so Ethel was executed on really shabby evidence, honestly. Julius, there was a little more evidence, but even his evidence was shabby. I mean, through the 70s, there was a lot of fiction. And during the counterculture period, there was a lot of fiction and attempts to sort of clear the Rosenbergs, saying, they didn't do anything. And as I said, even to this day, it's a question of how much they actually did. Ethel, maybe not anything, and maybe had some tertiary knowledge, but definitely not enough to be convicted of treason. Whilst Julius, he was guilty of spying, but whether he was guilty of treason or not is somewhat questionable based on what he actually gave the Soviets and how valuable it was to them. So what does this case teach us? What can we say about the Rosenbergs going forward? I mean, there's people who've been trying to, their children especially, pushed to have them exonerated for years. They haven't actually been exonerated yet, despite it seems overwhelming evidence that Ethel was innocent of the crimes, most likely, and definitely innocent of the treason. Maybe some accessory things, abetting, if you really want to push it. But I think the thing that we have to take from the Rosenberg case, when you look into it, is Americans and people everywhere have to watch out for hysteria, right? This is the late 40s, early 50s, during the Red Scare, during a time of mass hysteria. Freaking out because we're sure that there's Soviets everywhere. They're in the bushes. And when the Soviets got the atomic secret, which was one of the big American secrets, we had to point fingers. We had to find somebody, and we found somebody. Were they guilty? The evidence was thin. In a system of American justice, we have to have proof. We have to have jurisprudence. The proof has to be on the prosecution. And in this instance, we didn't do that. We convicted people on very, very weak proof. Because if you go back to the original case, without all the hearsay that came from the 60s, even Nikita Khrushchev weighed in his memoirs, all that hearsay, the initial evidence in the case was thin, very thin. Julius was, they had some on him, which, rightfully so it seems, but they had almost nothing on Ethel, except for the testimony of her brother, which turned out to be a lie, and he admitted later it was a lie. So these people were executed because of hysteria, because Americans were afraid. And that's something people have to watch out for. Don't assume things. Don't let logic and reason be undercut by fear. Fear is the great enemy of democracy, and this was the instance where that shows, and it bears out because we executed 2 people who maybe didn't deserve to be executed, at worst prison sentences for both, maybe Ethel not at all. You'd have to retry the case in a fair manner, which couldn't be done in that day, and so they were both executed in 1953 in the electric chair. So there you have it. There's my thoughts on the Rosenbergs. I hope that satisfies the man with no chin. And I hope that gives you a little insight on hysteria and what it can lead to. And I hope it gives you just a little bit of historical perspective.